Today we are going to learn about business structures. Let's dive into each one of them straight away. The choice of business structure affects ownership, liability, taxation and management. Sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is the simplest form of business structure, owned and operated by a single individual. It is the most common type of business entity and often the default for small businesses. Characteristics of sole proprietorship. Ownership. The business is entirely owned and controlled by one person. Liability. The owner is personally liable for all business debts and obligations. Personal assets are at risk to the point where any debt settlement had to be with their personal assets. Taxation. Business income is taxed as part of the owner's personal income tax return. There is no separate business tax return. Ways to raising capital. Personal savings, small business loans, crowdfunding, angel investors, supplier credit. Advantages of operating a sole proprietorship business. Ease of formation. Simple and low cost to establish. This is the most simplest way to start a business. Minimal legal formalities are required. Since the business is run by a single owner, there is no complex legal procedures required. Direct control. The owner has full control over decision-making and operations. Since there is no other person to consult, the sole owner has the direct control. Tax benefits. Potential tax advantages, such as deducting business expenses from personal income. Disadvantages of sole proprietor business. Unlimited liability. Owner is personally responsible for business debts and lawsuits. Personal assets can be at risk in case of a business debt settlement. Limited capital. Sole proprietors may have difficulty raising funds or obtaining loans. Limited growth potential. Growth may be limited due to the resources and skills of a single individual. Examples for the sole proprietor business. Freelancers, consultants, small retail stores, local service providers such as plumbers, electricians. Partnerships. Now we will discuss about partnerships. Since there are some drawbacks in sole proprietorship model, the business model partnerships comes into the picture. A partnership is a business structure owned and operated by two or more individuals who share ownership, profits, and responsibilities. Partnerships are governed by a partnership agreement that outlines the terms of the partnership. Characteristics of partnerships. Ownership. Partners share ownership, responsibilities, and profits based on the terms of the partnership agreement. Partnership is also referred to as a firm. The word firm denotes the persons who constitute all the partners. Types of partnerships. General partnership. All partners share equally in profits and liabilities. Limited partnerships. General partners who manage the business and limited partners who invest but have limited liability. Liability. In a general partnership, partners have unlimited personal liability for business debts and obligations. Taxation. Partnerships are pass-through entities. Profits and losses pass through to partners' personal tax returns. Ways to raise capital for partnerships. Venture capitalists, angel investors, bank loans, networking. Advantages of partnerships. Shared responsibility. Partners can share the workload, responsibilities, and decision-making. Complementary skills. Partners bring diverse skills, knowledge, and resources to the business. Tax benefits. Pass-through taxation can result in lower taxes for partners. Disadvantages. Unlimited liability for general partners. General partners are personally liable for business debts and legal liabilities. Potential conflict. Disagreements among partners can lead to disputes and challenges in decision-making. Shared profits. The profits must be shared among partners based on the partnership agreement. Examples for partnerships: law firms, accounting firms, medical practices, real estate partnerships. Corporations. Private companies, public quoted companies. Description: a corporation is a legal entity that is separate from its owners, shareholders, with its own rights and liabilities. It is considered a distinct legal person, and can enter contracts, own assets, and conduct business in its own name. Characteristics: ownership. Owned by shareholders who buy shares of stock in the company. Liability. Shareholders have limited liability. Their personal assets are generally protected from business debts and lawsuits. Taxation. The corporation is taxed on its profits. Shareholders are taxed on dividends received. There is a so-called double taxation. The corporation is taxed at the profits it makes. When the final profits pass on to the shareholders, as dividends, again it is taxed at the personal income. Formation. Requires filing articles of incorporation and corporate governance requirements. Management. Managed by a board of directors elected by shareholders. Ways to raise capital for corporations: equity financing, debt financing and private equity. Advantages. Limited liability. Shareholders are not personally liable for business debts or legal obligations. Access to capital. Easier to raise capital through the sale of shares of stock. Perpetual existence. The corporation exists independently of its owners and can continue even if shareholders change. Disadvantages of corporations. Complexity. More administrative requirements and formalities, compared to other business structures. Double taxation. Profits are taxed at the corporate level, and dividends are taxed again when distributed to shareholders. Costs. Higher costs for formation, compliance, and ongoing management. Examples for corporations. Large publicly traded companies, Apple, Microsoft, privately held corporations, manufacturing companies. Conclusion. In conclusion, all three business structures represents a key stage of a business. And when each of the business goes through the life cycle, it need to select the suited structure. Each type of business structure offers different advantages and disadvantages, depending on factors such as ownership, liability, taxation, and growth potential. Entrepreneurs should carefully consider these factors and seek legal and financial advice when choosing the right business structure for their venture. If you think this video is helpful, please do share the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.